This is the New York City FC Pregame Live. Today, New York City FC host Atlanta United as they look to get back into the win column at Yankee Stadium. And now, here are your hosts, Glenn Crooks and Matty Lawrence.
It's true. I cut the music off. I hate doing that because I like the music. Plus, Chris Sakonis takes the time to put that together. There's Matty Lawrence. I'm Glenn Crooks. Back together again and back at Yankee Stadium, where New York City FC has a 4-1-1 record this year. They like playing here, and opponents oftentimes do not. And the opponent today is Atlanta United. New York City FC overall in this series, 3 wins, 2 losses, 3 draws. But Matty, before we get into this, let's go back to the November the 21st, 2021, here at Yankee Stadium. It was the MLS playoffs where New York City had really, in a way, little success getting into the playoffs every year since 2016, expansion year, no. But they get a 2-0 win over Atlanta, 2 second-half goals, Tati Castellanos from Maxi Morales, of course. And then Maxi rings one off the crossbar, and Alexander Collins heads home the second goal, and that got it done for New York City. Remember that one?
I do indeed. It was a good game and a good win, of course. But yes, I think it's a totally different Atlanta United side now, and we'll talk about it. But they're in big trouble in terms of injuries, that's for sure.
Yeah, we'll dig a little deeper into that and give the list of names, and you'll understand. The other game last year, the one that really proved to be maybe more significant than any other, and it's a player that's no longer with the club, Gudmundur Thorarensen, scoring that free kick goal in Atlanta against the Five Stripes at Mercedes-Benz in the 90th minute for the 1-1 draw, which ultimately put New York City in a home field advantage against Atlanta for that opening game. And New York City didn't lose a match after that en route to the MLS Cup. So it was the Atlanta United, New York City enjoying some success last year. And the one thing I remember about that playoff game, Joseph Martinez, who's in the starting lineup today, did not get a sniff. Yeah, maybe at the very end there was that one time where he got in, but other than that, he was completely shut down.
Yeah, look, he's not the same player that he was before his serious injury. We know that. I don't want to jinx it, and he bangs a hat-trick in today, but he's just totally different player. He's not as sharp. He's not scoring as many goals. I think he's only got 4 this season. It's hard mentally and physically to recover from serious injuries. I'm sure Anton Tinnerholm will tell us exactly the same. Yes, he's recovered. Yes, it's good to see Tinnerholm back, but it takes a lot of physical duress and mental strength. And Joseph Martinez, it's a different Joseph Martinez. Hopefully, we'll see the same Anton Tinnerholm, but those long-term injuries are very, very difficult to get over. And it's not just about the physicality. It's about the mental strength, the mental toughness. Eber is a player very similar, I think, in terms of Joseph Martinez. He's been, a shadow of his former self, and I don't think that's being unkind. I think it's factual that Eber and Martinez still haven't recovered from their serious injuries.
But Eber coming off a brace in Cincinnati in a wild game, and you're getting a live look at Yankee Stadium as the cones are set up, but no players yet out for the warm-up. But let's go back to that game last weekend where New York City FC, well, no, it was a midweek game, Wednesday. Boy, the games are coming fast and furious. But this was a Wednesday night game. Atlanta United played Thursday night and lost to the Red Bulls at Red Bull Arena. They hung out here in the metropolitan area ready for this one. But New York City on Wednesday, they were down 3-0, Matty. And then in the 7th minute of stoppage time, having recovered to make it 3-2, this happened, and it was pretty wild. Inside right channel. That's the angle. 25 yards away. Morales will deliver. On the back post, it's Eber! It's 3-3! And it's a free header by Eber! And he hammers it into the back of the net! And what a recovery from New York City FC! Maxi Morales jumps on Eber. A big hug. The Brazilian and the Argentinian. A brace for Eber in the first half to match the brace by Brunner for FC Cincinnati. It's 3-3. So Eber had scored earlier. Really nice goal, and it was one of those Eber finishes that we saw when he came in 2019. Got in on the keeper, hit a little dink with his left, a real striker's finish. And Brenner had a brace in the first half, but he also scored the second half. Gabriel Pineda, he opened the scoring in the second half. New York City was up 4-3 for a moment, 4-4. Just a crazy game. And for the first time in MLS history, a team made up a 3-0 deficit in the first half to be tied going into the locker room.
Yeah, look, if you want to go 3-0 down against anyone and have an advantage or an ability to come back, it's Cincinnati. They may sit 6th in the league, but they've conceded more goals than anybody barring Toronto in the Eastern Conference. They're not very good defensively, as they proved. And when you've got a 3-0 advantage, in the 44th minute, 45th minute, it's sacrilegious to concede 3 goals in additional time. But Cincinnati are one of the teams that can do that, masters of their own downfall, etc., etc. But yeah, to concede 30 goals in 17 games, that they have that ability to be porous defensively. And I'm glad Eber got that brace. But as I said, he's still not the same player he was. But hopefully this will give him the confidence to provide us and with that ability to see what he has done previously.
And then the appearance of Justin Hack in that Cincinnati match, and then we'll move on for the lineup reveal and look more closely at Atlanta United and New York City FC today. But Justin Hack, so he hadn't played since 2019. He made 3 appearances in 2019 for a total of 6 minutes. So he played over 60 minutes, and he came in when Maxime Chanot went down. Chanot on the Brenner goal in the first half, one of the Brenner goals in the first half, was trying to save it off the line, and he clattered into the far post, and he got a gash in his right leg, stitches, but the Chanot's okay, and he's expected to be in the 11 today when we present it. But Hack came in, Alfredo Morales went into the back line, and Justin Hack, I think by all observations, really had what you would call an effective game, an important game for New York City FC. Here's Nick Cushing on Hack's performance.
Yeah, I mean, I think you've seen over the last 2 games, he was prepared and ready to come on in the Philadelphia game. We didn't do it, but I have no problem with putting Justin in the Cincinnati game after an injury to Maxime Chanot. We don't have so much cover at centre half, and we know Alfredo Morales can do a good job there. And Justin has shown over the last 2.5 years that I've been here that he is really hungry and really ambitious to get his MLS career started. And of course, he's a young player. He has to learn, he has to develop, he has to grow into, his role within our team. But I feel like he's grown the role as a young training player. I feel like he has grown into a place where he is ready to take his opportunity. And we gave him that against Cincinnati, and he done a really good job. We're really proud of him. And I think the good thing for us is, and the good thing for him is, the team were really proud, really proud and really happy for him. So there will be opportunities there, but it's also competitive. We have Gideon Zelalem that wants to push him. Alfredo Morales and Nico Acevedo can't play every game because we play, the nature of the league is we play every 3 days. So there's opportunities for everybody there. And I'm just really pleased for Justin, especially as a homegrown player, as a young player from our academy. It shows the good work that we're doing at the football club.
And Matty, maybe one of the most vital aspects of what happened this year, New York City FC has a 2 team, a reserve team. Yep. And Hack has played 5 games in MLS Next Pro. Now, we played 16 times for Hartford Athletic last year on loan, USL Championship. But I think, I wonder if you agree, being with your own club, playing in a similar system, with the major responsibilities, being a first-team player coming out down to the 2 team, maybe in terms of leadership and leading the way. And you saw it. I was at the Philadelphia match, the 2 match on Monday after the Union match that New York City's first team played on Sunday. Stayed and watched at Subaru Park. And, he was a fairly commanding presence. But what do you think?
Look, I'm listening to Nick talk there. Nick Cushing, the head coach, has got full faith in the young man. So I think that helps a player as well. Maybe Ronnie Dyler didn't have that faith, didn't have that belief. And as a player, you know that as well. You realise as a player when the manager doesn't fancy you, so to speak, and isn't going to put you in. Justin Hack knows that Nick Cushing likes him as a player and has that belief in his ability. He talked about him growing, Nick Cushing did. I was just looking at him as in terms of stature, the size. He's grown a lot in terms of upper body strength, just looking at the picture of him there. Like the definition in his leg muscles are right there. He has grown a lot physically. He's obviously done a lot of hard work in the gym, and that helps. And look, you don't have to be 6'2" and you don't have to be 200 pounds. But when you're playing in the position that Justin Hack does, sometimes it does help to have that little bit of extra physicality. He's not a young boy anymore. He's a young man, and it shows. And I think that helps as well when you have that belief in your own strength as well, and you don't get knocked around anymore. Yes, Hartford Athletic, that was fine. It gave him a few minutes in men's football, so to speak. But I'm with you. I think you need to be playing in a similar system to the first team plays. And obviously, NYCFC 2 do exactly that. That's the whole point. You mirror exactly what the first team does, whether that's playing in the under-15s or the MLS Next Pro team or even the under-12s. I bet everybody plays in the same system. That's the whole point.
Matt Pilkington, the head coach of the New York City FC 2 team, who shellacked FC Cincinnati yesterday at Belson Stadium in Queens, 5-1 the final there. Here it's New York City FC against Atlanta United. We talk about Hack and Nick Cushing, little briefing down in front of the dugout on the third base side, and just asked him about Hack and the possibility of him. He's on the bench. Will he get in today? And it really depends on Nico Acevedo, Alfredo Morales, if something happens to them in the midfield, or if Chanot or Collins have an issue. It looks like Alfredo Morales would go back there again and bring Hack in. But he's buoyed by the fact that he had a performance also,
Absolutely. He had faith in him, Nick Cushing, so he put him in. And then once he got in, you still have to do the business as the player. And Hack did that. He proved that he could hack it, so to speak. And
please, Matty.
Hey, that's
Matty.
not bad. That's not bad for totally off the cuff, Glenn. So I think that he will be not quite first choice to come in. It's dependent as well. And no head coach really wants to say, yes, of course, I'm going to bring such and such in for 10 or 15 minutes. But I'm with you. There's a number of different opportunities for him to come in terms of we hope nobody gets injured or we hope nobody plays badly. But it is a problem when you've only got two centre halves and one of them's got stitches in a leg wound. That makes things a little tricky for your defenders and for Nick Cushing as head coach.
Chanot on Friday said, Maxime Chanot said he's ready to go, and then it's just up to the coach to put him into the 11. Tinnerholm expected at fullback. Nick Cushing prior to the game said if Tinnerholm does go at the beginning, he doesn't expect him to play a full match, so Tavon Gray would come in. And then Maxi Morales suffering a little bit from he had a rib injury a couple of weeks back, which kept him out of one match, and he's feeling a little soreness there, but it's nothing serious, and he's expected to play today, but maybe not a full match for him. So there is versatility, and the Hack versus Gideon Zelalem really is maybe how the game's going at that point. Zelalem a better deliverer of the ball, maybe, if you're down a goal.
Yeah, I think so. I think he can pick passes. He's more experienced. Obviously, he can open up the opposition defence. But as you say, it's we're just speculating here on what may go on. What we really hope is that NYCFC are 3-0 up with 30 minutes left, and Nick Cushing can bring on a number of players, can give Hacker another half an hour, can maybe even bring Tavon Gray on, as you say, for Tinnerholm. And we'll see how the game pans out. But we do know that NYCFC are absolutely desperate for the 3 points, of course.
And Ernest wants to know if Valentin, that's Tati Castellanos, is he playing? We're going to find out momentarily. I would expect he has recovered from the illness. He was training full on Friday, so that would be, unless something has happened between Friday and now, fully expect him to be in the 11. And then a little message from Jessica Jones. There we go. So injuries, New York City, Thiago Martins. That was a positive sign on Friday. Matty, he was doing agility work. He was doing slalom running. So he was cutting on that ankle injury. saw the doctor on the way out, and he said that he just used the word amazing when describing Martin's recovery. So he's ahead of schedule, and that's good news. The designated player center back. And then Keaton Parks is awaiting surgery, the similar surgery to the calf area and the blood clot issue. And we're not sure exactly when that surgery will occur, but when it does, we'll let you know. But injuries now as we look towards Atlanta. Let's read them. You ready? So questionable, Santiago Sosa, who's a fairly critical player in the midfield. He's ill. Out of this game. Out. Ozzy Alonso, he's out for the season with a torn ACL. Brad Guzan, out for the season. Achilles, the number one keeper. Miles Robinson, maybe the best or one of the best center backs in the league, out with the Achilles. Andrew Gutman, quad injury, he's out. Ronald Hernandez, who's a fullback on the right side, MCL, he's out. Franco Ibarra, yellow card suspension. And Tyler Wolf is away with the U20s. They've got a big one tonight.
Yes.
Although they've already qualified for the World Cup of the Olympics against the Dominican Republic. Brilliant. And then Brooks Lennon, he had the most curious injury of all. He's sidelined with an MCL. And he's the Anton Tinnerholm of Atlanta United. He's one of those backs that gets in, good service, scores a couple of goals every now and then. He, in warm-ups 2 games ago at Toronto, he slipped on the matting outside of the playing field, maybe going to get a ball, and he sprained his MCL. I'm chuckling only because it's just such a ridiculous injury, but it happened. So that's a lot of players, a lot of good players who are not available.
I was about to say, lots of teams have that many players who are injured, but not that many starters and not that many serious injuries as well. You know, Alonso and Miles Robinson, the spine of the team. Gutman as well, obviously left back, but Guzman. You've got goalkeeper, centre half, centre midfielder, all injured. And Tyler Wolf, of course, you've got 2 fullbacks injured on the right-hand side. You've got 1 fullback on the left-hand side. It's just really horrific for Pineda. And I look down at Atlanta United, how they've done. They've only won 1 game in their last 5, but it's no real surprise when they've got that many players out injured. It's incredibly difficult for them. I don't quite want to say the team's threadbare, but certainly when you look to the bench, it shows you the limitations, I guess, of some MLS squads.
All right, the starting 11 is in for New York City FC. Indeed, Tati Castellanos. We see Tinnerholm at fullback, Chanot, Collins, Amundsen on the left, Acevedo and Morales at the midfield, Santi Rodriguez, Maxi Morales, Tyler Magno, Tati Castellanos. So that's a pretty good side for New York City. And Nick Cushing looking to get his first MLS win. No wins, 1 loss, 2 draws. The most recent draw certainly, had to add a little energy to the program, but a good squad.
It's a great squad. Bench is starting to look a little bit bare, maybe, but certainly the starting 11 is pretty much the best team available to Nick Cushing. Whether people are fit or not.
Right.
Now that Castellanos is back as well, I think
Parks would be the only one that might be in there.
Maybe Martins, but apart from that, you're still bringing in Acevedo for Parks. You're still bringing in Chanot for Martins. They're both first-team players. So, yes, it's a great starting 11. But Nick Cushing is desperate for that win. And I think we know the players are desperate to win for Nick Cushing as well. It just hasn't come. But you're right. I think they have to have taken a positive from the points against FC Cincinnati, and especially the fact of being 3-0 down so quickly into the game and then coming back before half-time. It shows the powers of recovery of this team, and it shows that squad togetherness, team togetherness still, that we knew they had under Ronnie Dyler. It shouldn't just dissipate because it's a new manager, and Ronnie Dyler's left, obviously, but they're still there. They're still together. They're still fighting as a squad, and they're still fighting for Nick Cushing as well, which is good to see. However, the win has to come soon, otherwise Nick Cushing becomes under pressure. That's factual as well. Hasn't got a win in MLS. Only 2 points from the 9 points so far. We know what it is. It's a results business. Nick Cushing will know that. He wants the job full time. They need to start getting wins for him to be looked at in that term, in terms of a future head coach.
New York City with a record of 8-4-4 overall, 28 points. fourth place in the Eastern Conference, a single point behind Philadelphia, the New York Red Bulls, and CF Montreal, which by virtue of wins, they have 9 compared to 8 for the Red Bulls. They are top of the table. So a team that New York City defeated 4-1 back in March in the home opener, a team that looked dismal at the time, and they did get off to a very poor start. And look how they've recovered. And this is MLS to a T. You see teams go through, and maybe New York City's in the midst of that right now. Teams go through it. They recover. New York City did last year en route to the MLS Cup. They had that 10-game stretch in the summer that was particularly poor. Yeah, look,
it's the parity of MLS. We know that. I think that's why we like MLS so much, because anybody can beat anybody. And yes, you only need to string a few runs together, a few results together, and you can catapult yourself up the table. When you actually look at Montreal,
did you say runs because we're at a baseball stadium too?
I did say that as well, yeah. Okay. But you look at Montreal, and six losses from 17. Over a third of their games they've lost, and they've conceded 29 goals. I don't think you'd see a team being that bad anywhere else in the world, but they're sitting top of their league table, top of the conference as it is now. I don't think Montreal are that good a side. Their record proves that. They've lost, as I say, over 33% of their games and conceded more than 1.5 goals per game as well. But that's why I love MLS, because anyone can beat anyone. And you go into those playoffs at the end of the season. If you hit form, as NYCFC did, you can win the whole thing. You win MLS Cup. You don't even have to be Man City or Liverpool. You don't have to be good throughout the season. As long as you sit there in the top 7 places, you have that chance to win.
Atlanta is not right now. They're in 11th place. They're 5 points out of a playoff position with a 5-7-4 record. And there you see their starting 11. They've got this 20-year-old in goal. We talked about the injuries. On that list were 2 goalkeepers. And Rocco Rios Nova was signed as a signed on loan from Lanús. So Lanús comes into play a couple of times within this team. But at the end of April, he was a guy that was with Atlanta 2 last year, played some games for them. So he's not brand new to the program, but he's essentially been brought back because of these injuries. 20 years old. And Gonzalo Pineda apparently loves what he can do with his feet, because the one thing we'll see, and this is part of the attraction of this game today for me, Matty, is 2 teams that want to play. That's what hopefully we're going to see.
He likes what he does with his feet. I'm just watching him now. He can't kick the ball with his left foot. But I trust Pineda more than myself. But I've just seen him trying to kick the ball with his left foot.
Well, I wish we had a zoom here.
Keep it on his left foot, because he's not very good with that one. But yes, all well and good being good with your feet when you're a goalkeeper.
So he's in goal right now, right at the edge of the 6 there. And so he's
got a great right foot.
All right, well.
But yes, at 20 years of age, you want to be peppering the goalkeeper. He's somebody who's inexperienced. He certainly didn't play a great deal for Lanús. Played for Atlanta United too. But again, this is the trouble with Atlanta United, suffering so many injuries. It's difficult. There's very few teams in MLS who have got a top draw third choice goalkeeper, that's for sure.
And Matty, as we close, we have live commentary for you coming up shortly, beginning at 4:45 on the New York City FC network. You can hear it on the app, the New York City FC app, on TuneIn if you have that app. And today on Sirius XM FC channel 157. But I don't know if this already took place. I really wanted to be a part of it, but I couldn't. But today there was a chicken bucket eating contest with this guy, Joey Chestnut. So I'm looking for a report. If there's anybody watching this, and Chris Sakonis, tweet, we want to hear, somebody's got to tell us who won this thing. And
I thought that was tomorrow. What is it?
Is it tomorrow?
No, it's today. That is. But when's the hot dog eating competition?
Oh, I don't. That's something different.
I know it's something different, but I want that one.
All right. Well, I'm sorry I don't have more information, but I did want to let everybody know that was a big part of what's going on today. In addition to the game, so the game is New York City FC, Atlanta United. New York City FC. They are 3-2-3 overall against the Five Stripes. Last season, 1 win, 1 draw in the regular year, and then the 2-0 win in the playoffs. Joseph Martinez, he's in the starting 11 for Atlanta United. Tati Castellanos for New York City FC. So the favored strikers are in. Let's see if we get some goals here today. So I'm Glenn Crooks. That's Matty Lawrence. 4:45 Eastern. The New York City FC network for the live commentary. Thanks for being with us, and Enjoy the game, everybody.